Why don't we talk a little bit of baseball, because that's the hot topic here, and especially in the summertime as it's heated up. And specifically, you mentioned two closers early on with Kenley Jensen and Craig Kimbrel. You know, it's going to be so hard to catch what you and Mariano Rivera have done, but what is something that you've watched from afar, since we're here in Baltimore, that you've really respected and kind of marveled with Craig Kimbrel over the years?
Well, honestly, you know, I've had my eye on Craig since he broke in with the Braves. He came onto the scene really fast, dominating stuff. And really, his repertoire hasn't changed much. He's still throwing the upper 90s with a fantastic breaking ball. But what I see is just that aura of confidence and calm every time he's out in any situation, no matter it gets crazy. Like the last time I saw him was in Tampa, and he's ran through Tampa almost every time he's been out there. And honestly, it's really cool to see how comfortable he is still in the role. And Kenley as well in Boston has had a nice run lately with going up against Toronto, and they're just plugging away, man. And they stay healthy. Who knows? The sky's the limit still.
Yeah, you know, it kind of brings me to this. You saved a lot of games. Again, only one other person could say that they saved more. It's not easy. And I think relievers, closer, it's a little bit more gratifying because you get recognized. I tell people, middle relievers, there's no glory there. It's no matter what happens, if you don't put up perfect zeros, you're terrible. But for in this case, for the Orioles, and I know Orioles fans are going, oh, well, Craig Kimbrel, he just blew a save against the New York Yankees the other night. His stuff to me has looked really, really good so far. But can you just elaborate just maybe the perspective of going into close a game? And do you know how many saves that you blew throughout your career, out of curiosity? Do you remember the bad times?
Yeah, I'm in the neighborhood of 70 blown saves. So it started getting to be a heavy number, which wasn't good. But you don't remember, you're right. You don't really remember all the good ones, maybe a few milestone ones, but you do remember that pitch that you didn't execute and you blew the game. And, you know, fortunately, Craig, yesterday, he stayed in the game, was able to get the win by not giving up any more runs. And that's kind of part of the role, too. It turned, you know, now that we started a runner at second base, there's that little caveat. But honestly, just their consistency and in a finite manner. Like when you go out, it's a tightrope act. And, you know, with San Diego, we had an opportunity where our closer had worked a few days in a row, Robert Suarez, and we tried to get somebody else in there to close it down against Kansas City. And it was an opportunity where we were going to be able to sweep Kansas City, roll in Anaheim. And when those wins come out of your sails, weird things happen. It was a tough series against Anaheim. We have a pretty good road trip or homestand against Oakland. And then we go into New York and Philly with a lot of momentum, and everything kind of can change on one particular game. So, you know, just the job that those two guys we mentioned have done, continue to keep the sale in their teams, you know, winning the team's sales and staying consistent has been just a fabulous thing to watch.
Yeah. And I mean, that's the thing. It's just the fact that, sorry, not bringing it up again, you blew 70 saves. Congrats, Trevor. That's great. But again, you were one of the best that did it, right? And that's the point I try to point out to everyone. Even the best that ever do it, you're not going to be perfect. And I think that's something where people get caught up on. And that's what I was referring to with relievers. And right now for the Orioles with Craig, they're trying to preserve him. But sometimes it's hard to be in that position. Can you just speak on what it's like to go in and close out a game, the adrenaline, and how do you personally be able to keep all of those feelings and emotions in check?
Yeah, it was almost an opportunity within the routine of the role that you knew there was going to be the theatrics of an entrance song. There was going to be, the loud music. And for me to come in when everybody gets all hyped up and try and get them out with a changeup, it was total oxymoron. You just think you're supposed to come in and throw triple digits every time and be over and done with it. And that's kind of what I watched growing up in the minor leagues and touching the big leagues with Rob Dibble being a mentor and Brian Harvey being a mentor. And, you know, the thing I took away is those guys couldn't have been polar opposites more, but the way they went about their business, but they were locked in. And so it was just a matter of figuring out a routine, finding out what works best for you. You mentioned the middle relief guys. Those guys are the most unsung heroes because they're keeping games tight. They're keeping your team into a relatively close so you can maybe hand it off. But it's a team within a team down there. And you love when guys just continue to pass the baton, throw up a zero, navigate these lineups, navigate the analytics. That they basically know what you're going to throw. It's like T. Gwynn back in the day. And your Pops went in together with him in Cooperstown. like he was the revolutionary guy behind video work. He was splicing stuff and watching on team flights, and long before we had designated groups to do that. And so there's not really something a hitter doesn't know about the pitcher they're going to face these days.